Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Vikings episode review right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Vikings episode review. And this is my review of the Season 1 finale. That's Season 1, Episode 9, entitled All Change. Now, general thoughts on this week's episode. While I thought it was a good episode, I also think that it was somewhat of an anticlimactic conclusion to the first season. And that's because they've decided to go for build-up rather than epic finale. So instead of, instead of an action-packed, huge, spectacular type finish to the first season, they decided to start laying the groundwork for Season 2, to start setting things in motion for the major conflicts of the next season. And I'll actually go down a list, pretty much giving my thoughts on what I think they're setting up to, and somewhat of, and a bit of how I kind of see things playing out a bit, or what potential avenues they can take with some of these setups for Season 2. So now the first one out the gate has to be what they're setting up with Ragnar, and by extension with Rollo, and that is the war that is coming between King Horik and Earl. I cannot remember the other Earl's name, but that conflict between those two characters, they've already set up Ragnar and Rollo on opposite ends of the board. So you all will recall from one of my earlier reviews where I said that eventually we were going to see the brothers on opposite ends. I thought it was going to happen with Earl Haraldson. Apparently not. Apparently it's with this new conflict. And of course, we know that Ragnar's going to get pulled into this because he's already pledged loyalty to King Horik. So to think that Ragnar, at this position in time, being an Earl, but also, pretty much having this huge claim to fame that he has pretty much amassed over the first season, yeah, Ragnar's going to get called into battle. That just goes without questioning. And I also fear that if Ragnar tries to back out, that would put him at opposite ends with King Horik, who could potentially take out his frustrations out on Ragnar. So pretty much Ragnar is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because on the one hand, you can tell that he doesn't want to fight a battle that's not his own, but on the other hand, he can't afford to make an enemy out of King Horik. And now having Rollo siding against them, I mean, that's just going to add more fuel to the fire and just to make things worse. So I would say, I think that for the most part, Ragnar's going to go ahead and play it straight. He's going to fight for King Horik. Yeah, sure, there is going to be a lot of tension between him and Rollo, and of course, their feud is going to come to blows. And I think that, no, I don't think they're going to kill off Rollo. I don't. I think that's a character they're going to want to keep around for a while. So I can't see Ragnar and Rollo's, potential rivalry. I don't see that ending with one of them dying necessarily, or at least not yet. Not in the second season, and certainly not in this war that's about to happen. I don't see that happening. Hell, if anything, I see Rollo killing the Earl that he's siding with and taking his place, just to create a potential alliance with him and King Horik. That could be his way to get in King Horik's good graces, taking out that Earl. So I think that's much more likely to happen than either him or Ragnar getting killed in that feud. I just don't see them doing that. Yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Like I said, I think both those characters are going to pretty much play it straight, except for Rollo. I think if any type of treason or if any type of if any type of power play was should take place, I think that's going to be on Rollo's behalf. Now, there is a second conflict that they're setting up with Ragnar for the second season, and let's not forget, we do still have his we do still have that feud that has been created between Ragnar and King Eel from earlier in the season. Don't know if that's going to come back into play with season 2, but I like, like I said, I like that they set that up so far in advance. But no, the second conflict I'm talking about that could potentially happen in season 2 is one between Ragnar and Lagertha, because Ragnar's fidelity has already come into question in the final episode, and Ragnar, now knowing that that the princess is carrying his child, I'm curious if Ragnar is going to have the gall to bring her back to his village. Now, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to kind of share my thoughts on what I think is going to happen with Lagertha in season 2. I think remember 2 weeks ago when I mentioned how they set up Lagertha so much, she can be this battle-hardened warrior, this battle-hardened shield maiden on one hand, and then she can be this genuine, caring, loving mother figure on the other hand. I think we're going to see less of the latter in season 2, because by now Lagertha's lost 2 children, and even if she learns of Ragnar's transgressions in season 2, or like I said, if Ragnar actually does take the princess back to the village with him, either way, that's going to pit her against her husband. There is no way that she's just going to lie down and let that happen. No. And with the weight of 2 dead children on her shoulders, yeah, the whole thing is going to boil over at some point in time. And I'm curious to see how they play that. I'm curious to see how that relationship, what's going to happen with them, in season 2. I mean, at this point, their marriage can end. It really can. So I guess only time will tell. And I'm also curious what's going to be Ethelstan's role during this. I can't help but get the feeling that he is going to get caught in the middle. That I don't think Ethelstan is going to just kind of sit on the sidelines while this is going on. Because remember, this is the family he's been living with. I mean, let's face it, both Ragnar and Lagertha are members of his family now. So I think that conflict, and I mean, hell, man, even with Bjorn, I mean, just as easily as he could potentially pick a side between his 2 parents, I think Ethelstan could do the same thing. I think he is going to try to play the neutral ground. I think he is going to try to play the mediator, but I can't help but think that is going to create some type of animosity between one of them, if not both of them. Him trying to mediate the situation could potentially enrage one of them, if not both. So like I said, I'm just curious to see how that whole thing plays out. Not sure what Siggy's role in the second season is going to be. Especially once she learns what Rollo's done. Once she learns that Rollo is going to side against Ragnar, now yeah, she could just as easily leave the village, but well, I mean, yeah, maybe that is it. I mean, she doesn't have any other attachment to the village anymore. Her daughters, she's lost her own daughter. So, yeah, I think that's more likely. But, once again, that's going to kind of pit her against Lagertha. And she's already pledged, you know, servitude to Lagertha. So, she'd kind of be going back on her word at this point. And I'm not sure how that, I'm not sure. Yeah, we could potentially get some type of conflict between Siggy and Lagertha, but nah, I'm not sure. I would think that they would want to focus on her conflict with Ragnar rather than the one with Siggy. But I mean, hell, either one's fair game, and who knows? They could completely, you know, outdo my expectations and manage both simultaneously. You know, I would actually be pretty impressed if they were able to pull that off. And I could comment on a potential conflict between a rift between Bjorn and his own father, but that I think that would really depend on how central of a character they want to make Bjorn in season 2. How significant of a character, how much to the forefront do they want to bring him? Because otherwise, it's just going to be somewhat of a subplot, a really small subplot that I think could just as easily be overshadowed by any one of the other conflicts that I've mentioned earlier. So what I'm saying is that is not outside the realm of possibility. But I think unless they decide to really do something with Bjorn's character, it is going to get overshadowed. And that's just due to the magnitude of the other conflicts. So, yeah, that's what I think will happen with that. But all in all, those are all pretty much my thoughts on the setups for season 2. Now I could go into a bit more. I could try and discuss some potential new characters into season 2, like, you know, some of the characters that we got introduced in this episode, but I don't know. I don't even know what part they could potentially play outside of what we've already been alluded to in this episode. So at that point, it really, I really will just be swinging for the fences. You know, really just that would all just be speculatory without enough material to really start making some legitimate theories. You know, that's just full-blown speculation. I think more so than some of my predictions for the second season. And so with that being said, that's going to wrap up not only my episode 9 review, but also that's going to wrap up my season 1 Viking episode reviews. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all who've been following my reviews. Not just you all who've watched this review, but also those of you all who have been faithfully following my reviews throughout all of season 1. I want to thank you guys for making this new segment successful, because it's like I said, I found out about Vikings a week before it premiered, and I was like, huh. And after seeing the pilot, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I wanted to share it with you all on the channel, just like I do with all the other new series that I pick up from time to time. And you guys, you know, you tuned in. The videos have done well from a view count standpoint. I've loved some of the feedback I've been getting and some of the discussions that that have started up in the comment section on some of the reviews. That's great, and I want to do more and more of that. So, in case you all are wondering, I will be reviewing season 2. Granted, if I'm still, if I'm still doing YouTube a year from now, I do plan to do season 2. But actually, in addition to your thoughts on both this week's episode and some of your predictions for season 2, I actually want to get you guys feedback on this segment. So what I mean is this: let me know what you guys' thoughts are as a whole on my reviews for season 1, but also start pitching me a couple ideas for the season 2 reviews. So what I mean is, guys, one idea that I actually want to start doing with my reviews is ending my reviews with a viewer question in regards to the series. Now, I don't know how soon I'll implement this idea. Maybe I'll start it with Vikings season 2. But yeah, I want to start getting you guys a bit more interactive in my reviews. Because I have videos like the discussion of the week, like Comic Book Hollywood, where those are very interactive. And I've been trying to find a way to make the reviews themselves a bit more interactive. So something like, like a viewer question, kind of like how I do the discussion of the week, where you guys would post suggestions. So I'm thinking something like you guys would post a question, and the one that gets the most thumbs up would be the one that I would answer at the end of every review. I'm also trying to figure out a way, how can we build up, more discussion on the series. So yeah, so any thoughts on any one of those, but also any other ideas you guys might have, feel free to share them in the comments below. Any ideas that intrigue me, I will take into great consideration. And yeah, we'll see if we can get something really interesting going with definitely by the time season 2 comes out for the season 2 reviews. But anyway, so with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next time, peace.